Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Torin here with another Warhammer Total War online commentary. In this particular battle, I will be piloting the Warriors of Chaos, led by none other than Sigvald the Magnificent. So definitely a fun character to use in this game. As far as my opponent, he will be playing the Beastmen. So I'll give you guys a quick overlay of my army composition and kind of my thoughts behind them. So I got a front line of Forsaken. Again, they're a very mobile unit, high speed. They actually have 48 speed, which is very, very fast. So they're able to keep pace with a lot of the Beastmen units and chase them down in really tough circumstances. They have high damage, which I feel is very, very strong against the low armored faction. They will just tear into these Ungor spearmen and just be relentless in cutting those guys down. So definitely a big fan of Forsaken in the Chaos versus Beastmen matchup. In my secondary line, I have a group of Chosen with halberds. They are armored, armor-piercing, anti-large, which is very, very pertinent considering all these freaking Gorbals he has back here. I think he has like 10 of them. And I have a group of Chaos Spawn, again, to tear through his infantry line. I have another group over here. I love the Unbreakable effect. Just like these units, they're mobile, do high damage, just a cool unit all around. And of course, I have Sigvald. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a group of Chaos Trolls. I just felt like trying them out. I don't usually use them, but again, they're a fun unit, and granted the leadership thing can be a little rough. Just wanted to see how it would go. And then, of course, for my Winds of Magic, I have a Chaos Sorcerer with Lore of Death, which is pretty good. As you can see, I only brought Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. I didn't even bring any of the other abilities, so I was able to save enough to actually get these Chaos Trolls. So that's what justified that particular strategy there. So as far as my opponent's army composition goes, he has a massive line of Ungor spear herds. That's like all he brought. So essentially just a giant fodder army. Then he has one Bestigor herd, and this is where the bread and butter of his army is. He has two Gorbals just stocked to the teeth with potions. He has Kazarek the One Eye, and he has two Bray Shamans. So it looks like he's going to be doing some serious hero diving here. So we'll see how this one plays out. Actually, I know how it played out, but you guys will see how it plays out. So without further ado, let's begin. So as can be expected, I'm playing Chaos. There isn't going to be much of a dynamic maneuvering with them. I'm just going to be moving straight forward into the enemy line. I just want to get there as fast as I can. He did expand his army out into a very, very wide concave, which can be a little tricky because, again, my army is less wide. So this western concave here will envelop, or it could potentially envelop my flanks, which is a little bit of a problem, but again, I did bring these Chaos Spawn who are going to do a very, very good job at tearing through these units. And to be honest, these Forsaken are just going to make short work of these Beastmen infantry. They have low armor, and these guys are heavy damage dealers. They have Frenzy. It's going to definitely be rough for them. So the one thing that I need to worry about is these Gorbals. These units, especially with those two potions, are so powerful. It is absurd. They can just last forever. And as you guys will see, when this battle starts to come to an end here, it's a pretty insane battle. It's just down to the wire. So stay tuned for the end, guys. I promise you, it is not disappointing. It is very stressful and very tense. So for me, for you guys, hopefully it's enjoyable. So again, the Forsaken are marching up. I come up with my Chaos Sorcerer to get a Fate of Buna. Really, his only value infantry unit is these Bestigors, so I wanted to get a Fate of Buna on those ASAP to start whittling them down. He did summon two Manticores, and he did use the double Arcane Conduit, so he will be getting his Winds of Magic back to cast some other Lore of Beasts kind of funny business. So I do get the Fate of Buna on those Bestigor herds, which I'm definitely happy about. It's going to do pretty good damage against them, and it's good value because Bestigors are quite strong. They can probably handle these Forsaken pretty well in a one-on-one matchup, but again, that Fate of Buna will soften them up a little bit. So I decided to kind of fan out my Forsaken, and I engage them in different fronts here. So I have a central front going in here. I send in these Chaos Spawn over here to plug in there, and I'm essentially just developing my melee line. So again, I kind of knew that this flank would be a lot of trouble, so I decided to invest really heavily in the eastern flank, hoping that these Forsaken would be able to hold their own for a while. And as expected with this composition, there's going to be some serious hero targeting here, which is fine. I mean, it's pretty good with the Manticores, but that's why I brought these Chosen with halberds. So he brings the Gorbals around and all of these guys, but thankfully all my Chaos Warriors with my Chosen, with halberds are just going to cut these Manticores to pieces. They're anti-large. This is what they were designed to do. This is their purpose. So thankfully for me, Chaos doesn't have a lot of squishy units you can dive. That's one nice thing about Chaos, though they lack those range units. I mean, one of the upsides is there's no vulnerable targets like that. So I get a Spirit Leech on Kazarek, and then of course the Chosen are fighting the Manticores. You can see how fast they're going down. So it's really going pretty well for me here. My Chaos Sorcerer is also back here, and Kazrak is starting to take serious damage. Sigvald is a very good duelist, very resilient, and he thrives here. So as far as the front line goes, my Forsaken just crushed his line, just absolutely crushed. As you can see, that high damage and those low tier infantry that he brought cannot hold the line, especially with Chaos Spawn in there. So his front line, though the western flank, excuse me, was pretty good for him. I only sent one unit over there, and they still almost won it out. So I cannot complain. And he does have his 2 Brave Shamans over here, casting what buffs he can on his troops. But again, I had such a superior infantry line. The main stressor of the battle for me was back here. So these Chosen with Halberds are doing pretty good. They were able to kill, I think, both of the Manticores. They're almost chasing them off. So this Manticore is back. But regardless, it took some serious damage. And Kazrak is having a really bad time here. Sigvald is just laying the beat down on him. But unfortunately, he starts to target Sigvald with this double Gorbel death squad here. So that's definitely very tough for me. But Kazrak, thankfully, at least he's going to die. At least from the looks of it. Because these Chosen with Halberds are very good against large units. And it's pretty much my only saving grace this battle against these darn Gorbels, as you guys will see. So down goes Kazrak, but these Gorbels do not care. They still have very high leadership. What, 85? Fluctuating, give or take in that region. And my Chosen are actually taking a little bit of a hit on their leadership. So I was definitely a little stressed about that. But, he does have a bunch of units that are, in and out of routing. I'm using these Chaos Spawn to make sure these units don't come back. So I'm just using them as hit squads to chase down these routing units. And these Forsaken, I figured I need to get rid of these Brave Shamans. I don't want them coming back and making the difference in the close battle. So I send the Forsaken to chase them down. And again, that's a pretty good deal for me, because though these guys, what do they have? 74 speed. These guys have 48, which is a difference, but he's going to have to be constantly microing these to keep them away from the Forsaken. And you can see they're keeping pretty good pace here. And these Chaos Spawn back here are doing a great job racking up the kills. So over here, I was really confident. I just thought this was over and that it would be over in another minute. But as you guys can see, there's still 5 minutes left in this battle. So definitely not what you would think. We got Sigvald here, being magnificent as always. He's taken out this Feral Manticore, which is definitely good for me. It's now shattered, so it won't be coming back. My Chaos Trolls, though, unfortunately do have that low leadership, so they're not having a good time here. And these Chosen with Halberds are continuing to fight these Gorbels, but look at this. They've been fighting them for like a good 3 or 4 minutes, and they're still at like 90% HP. And he's also getting Flock of Doom, which does pretty decent AoE damage, because those Brave Shamans, they are being chased down by Forsaken on their last legs, but they do get that last death thrust before they die with the Flock of Doom. So, but dang, these Gorbels were stressing me out. And you see, I had him almost dead. He uses a Potion of Healing, and look at his health go up. That is just so powerful. He'll be back up to, what, 60, 70% before that's over? And this other Gorbel also used the Potion of Healing, so they're essentially back to full health. And my Chosen with Halberds, even though they're explicitly designed to take on these Gorbels, are still just getting destroyed. So I was starting to get stressed out here and thinking I might lose, but I was like, oh, okay, I got some Chaos Spawn and other units. I was just using to chase off the last of his troops, but they'll be coming back here. And Sigvald tried to get back in the mix, but those Gorbels, again, are just so strong. They just laid the beat down on Sigvald, and they smell blood. As you can see, they're coming out here. They're all business. They don't give 2 shits about these these Forsaken, and they're just going to charge in there and lay the beat down on Sigvald, unfortunately. But he's trying his best. I'm trying to run laps. What you want to do in this situation is just have him run circles around run through your troops. It makes it much harder for the Gorbels to catch him, and they'll also take damage from the Halberdiers when they run through. So unfortunately, that Manticore comes in, the second one, and adds poor Sigvald. So he's not so magnificent now. He's here on the ground, and he is not having a good time. And as you can see, it's definitely tough. I mean, my units are taking a beating here, and these Chosen, thankfully, they're just such elite infantry that, despite their Lord's death and these monstrous terror-causing units, they're still hanging in there tough. So again, it's pretty scary, and he does have this Brave Shaman coming back with the Arcane Conduit. So I saw that, was a little stressed out by it, so I decided to send these Chaos Spawn. Oh, I'm not sure whether they are moving fast. I guess they're just exhausted, so that's about as fast as they're going to move. And if you take a look here, my units are all like on their deathbed. They're freaking going down, and these Gorbels, I don't know, man. They're just taking a serious beat down to my troops, and I had been fighting them for minutes and minutes with those Halberdiers, and it was not going well. So thankfully, these Chaos Spawn are still in good health. Granted, they are anti-infantry. They're still going to do pretty well. Their weapon damage is quite high at 150, and they're unbreakable. So at least I got that going for me. So they'll fight to the death. thankfully these units are cycling in and out of being broken, and they're wavering, so I'm able to get them back, and the defenses of these Gorbals is finally starting to break down. Like, they're starting to take a little bit of damage, and I was being really conservative with this Chaos Sorcerer. I didn't want to lose him, and I was waiting for these guys to get a little bit lower before I sent him in, so I'll go ahead and fast forward this a little bit because it can be a little monotonous, but again, these units fight, and you can see my units are getting whittled down hard, and they're just running, and this is just straight up attrition. This literally could have gone either way, so at this point, I go ahead and send in my Chaos Sorcerer, who gets a nice charge there and does a good bit of damage, so he immediately switches targets and starts to go after my Chaos Sorcerer, and thankfully these units are not shattered. They keep coming back, and again, Chosen have very high leadership, so even if they do go, it's high likelihood that they will come back. And you know, it just goes to show that these units are very strong, but at the same time, this is where he invested all his resources. His infantry line shattered almost instantly, and basically it's just been, you know, a Chaos Army versus 2 Gorbals for most of this game. But you know, as you can see, guys, this is just a tight battle, and my troops are starting to go down. My Chaos Sorcerer, I believe, got killed, and this guy is just going to town, and he's still steady, believe it or not. And my guys are all wavering, and they're exhausted, but thankfully these Gorbals are exhausted, and finally their leadership starts to go. And I believe this Gorbal, or one of them, takes the axe here and goes down, and that's the catalyst for his army getting shattered here. I guess they didn't go down, but man, that was a close battle. I literally had like a few Chosen left in his Gorbals, and that was it. That was like a tooth and nail fight. So really good game. Man, that was a stressful one. I definitely was on my toes there. So Sigvald, he did pretty good. I mean, he was fighting leadership, so he's not going to get a lot of kills. But as you can see, I was telling you guys, these Forsaken are so good against the low-tier Beastmen infantry. Like 160 kills on this one. That's pretty insane. And again, these Chosen did pretty well. I mean, because he dove me with Manticores and, you know, all kinds of scary stuff. So I'm definitely very happy about that. The Trolls, I mean, I should have just brought like another, you know, 2 groups of infantry instead of these Trolls. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't know. But again, these Chaos Spawn were so good. They, at the end there, in that really pitched battle, if some of his, you know, units of Ungor Spearmen had come back with like 30 or 40 of them in decent health, you know, I would have been in trouble. They could have, you know, served as fodder for my Chosen, because the Chosen were able to just focus the Gorbals the whole time. But if there had been some additional fodder in there, I could have lost. So, again, the Chaos Spawn were really good at that, at keeping those guys at bay. So I cannot complain there, and it was a very good battle. And as you can see, the Spearmen did nothing, but these Gorbals just tore through my troops. You know, I only deployed 449, so the amount of kills these guys got was really, really good. So a really good game to Kaiser 72. That was a lot of fun. Definitely one of the closest battles I've had in a while. And good game there. Well, thank you guys all for watching. I'll be putting out some more content in the next few days. And stay tuned. Thanks, guys, and have an excellent Sunday afternoon.